I'm chatting with Jess Corones from Swimming Australia. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you do with Swimming Australia.
Yeah, hi, my name's Jess Corones. I'm the General Manager of Performance Support and Olympic Campaign at Swimming Australia.
There's a fascinating story about how Swimming Australia has used AI and data in training its Olympic team. Please tell us more.
Yeah, so at the Tokyo Olympics, we used it for the first time, and then again in Paris. We use our relay application is probably a fantastic example of how we use AI with the Australian swim team. And the relay application looks at all the historical data of relays swum throughout the generations, and not just the Australian team, but other international teams as well. And what we're able to do is the coaches are able to put in different scenarios of who might swim in what order, but then it will also tell us what the other teams, what order they may swim their relays in. And so we're able to play out a number of different scenarios and use the AI to tell us whether that's a good order or whether we should look at maybe a different order, and it would make suggestions around possible and probable orders to swim our relays in. And it was really successful. As I said, Tokyo Olympics was the first Olympics we used it, and we medalled in all seven relays, which I think would be close to probably one of the first times that's ever happened where a country's medalled in every single relay at an Olympic Games. So it was a really successful tool there to use at the Olympics to support the coaches when they were selecting the relay teams.
What percentage of that success would you attribute to the use of AI and data?
Oh, that's really hard to say. I mean, at the end of the day, it's human performance. And so the athletes are the ones, they're the champions, and it's their performance that gets the win. But the data definitely is there to support the decision making and making sure that we're putting the best teams in. So it supports strategy and tactics. Look, before the relay app, we were probably inconsistent in our performances and probably medaling in sort of 4 or 5 out of the 7 relays. So I think it's really improved our consistency in the way that we're selecting our teams. But yeah, it's probably hard to put an exact figure on it.
Give us a sense of what are the margins of victory?
So small, where races are won and lost by 10/100ths of a second. So it's really important that you've got the right strategy, that you've got the right swimmers in the right positions, and that you're maximising all their strengths and weaknesses that each of them might have in a race. And so definitely, the relay app just strengthens our ability to make decisions around who's swimming where and making sure that we've got the best strategy going into the race.
Could one argue that that's worth 10/100th of a second in one race?
Definitely.
Tell us about how you are leveraging Amazon Web Services.
Yeah, so we've been working with Amazon Web Services since 2018, and we use a number of their different products and tools and platforms. Probably the one we use most readily is QuickSight, and our S3, our data lake where we store all of our data, and then SageMaker to build the products. But I think QuickSight is a really nice tool. It's our BI tool. It's what we use for data visualization. And so that's QuickSight. The QuickSight platforms are where the coaches interact with the data. And it enables them to query the data, to absorb it in different ways, whether they like graphs or whether they like the raw numbers, and can be quite interactive for the coach, which means they're able to understand the data, and they're able to see it in a way that makes sense to them. And then also using something like Amazon Q, which we're going to put on top of QuickSight, which then will allow the coach to ask questions of the data in their natural language. So it's about making the data. I always say that, like, in sport, everyone's trying to do the same thing. Everyone's trying to make sure they're advanced in technology and they're utilizing data. But at the end of the day, same as in business, it's about how you use the data. How well do you understand it and how do you apply it? And so by using some of these Amazon products like QuickSight means that our coaches are better able to understand the data, and then because they're very experienced and have great swimming knowledge and intuition, then they know how to apply that data from the computer into the design of their training programs with the athletes.
What are you doing at reInvent?
I'm here at reInvent this year. I'm doing a couple of presentations. I'm doing a breakout session tomorrow where we're unveiling our Training Insights program, which is a new training analysis tool using computer vision and machine learning that we've just developed with AWS. So that'll be really exciting tomorrow. And then apart from that, sitting on a couple of other panels. But I'm most excited to be here to meet people, to get inspired and get ideas around creativity and innovation for what might be the next big thing for us in swimming that keeps us ahead of the world. I often look for inspiration in our technology and the way we're using data outside of sport so that we can stay world leading in that space.
Well, you sure are inspiring people with your story, but tell us about the computer vision tool that you are planning to announce.
So we use computer vision for our race analysis. It's called Sparta. It's a custom-built piece of software, and it uses machine learning and computer vision to track the swimmers in a race. But it's limited in the fact that it can only work with the constructs and confinements of an actual race environment. So we've developed a system that can get the same metrics but in the training environment, which is a much more chaotic environment for computer vision, because in a training pool you could have anywhere from like 2 to 6 athletes in each lane. They're swimming all different strokes, they're stopping halfway in the pool, they're diving underwater, so tracking them in that environment's a lot more chaotic for the computer vision. And so that's one of the things we'll be announcing tomorrow and showing some insight into the architecture behind that system, to how we're going to use computer vision to analyse the swimmers in training. And the great thing about computer vision, particularly for the swimming athletes, is that it's non-invasive. They don't have to wear something in their cap or on their body, so they're a lot more freer to swim naturally and focus on their swimming technique without having to wear a wearable, and we can use computer vision to get the same metrics from the athlete's performance.
Finally, reInvent is a business conference above everything else. What can the business world learn from what Australia is doing in swimming?
Great question. And I think about this a lot because I often look to business to bring in ideas into swimming. But I think what the business world can take from sport or from what we're doing in swimming is the way that we're working with our customer in the design process. So for us, me as a sports scientist, my customer is the coach and the athlete, but how we're involving them in the process, in the design process when we're building these tools. It means they're much more engaged, the end product is much more sticky, and they understand that when they've been involved and understand the process, we get a better product and a better tool or a better solution at the end of the day if we involve them in the process, rather than hearing their problem and then going away and building something and just coming to them with the end product. We involve them through the whole process. And the other big one, I think, around sport in particular that the business world can take is the preparation and planning that sport puts into performance. So how do we plan, a week, a month, a year, even a 4-year cycle of training for the Olympics, and how do we prepare for high pressure moments so that we can execute to win when it matters. I think there's a lot that the business world can take from that, and just how we're democratizing data and helping people be comfortable with that transformational change in sport as well.
Thank you, Jess.
You're welcome.